Whether it's talking about Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey, there's one thing that often gets brought up when discussing why WWE tends to favor crossover celebrities, and that's the concept of mainstream eyes. But what is this really all about? Is there any real value to it? Well, that's the subject of this episode, because today, Dave knows mainstream attention. WWE historically has placed a lot of importance on celebrity involvement and those with crossover appeal. Let's just look at the very first WrestleMania. It was a star-studded affair featuring the likes of Mr. T, Muhammad Ali, Cyndi Lauper, and many more. And there are those who believe that those outside stars is what made the granddaddy of them all the phenomenon that it is. And this exact mentality has continued on to this very day, with many believing that Vince McMahon still holds outside celebrities in very high regard and that he believes that they will help to grow his audience. Now, the reason behind all this is, of course, money. The thinking is that if you bring in a celebrity who is famous outside of the world of wrestling, then they'll be bringing in outside fans along with them, growing your audience and therefore making you more money. But is this necessarily true? Well, to find out, let's go back to one of those previously mentioned celebrities in particular. Let's go to Muhammad Ali. Sure, WrestleMania did do well following his involvement, but let's look at another pro wrestling event featuring the greatest. Let's look at Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki in 1976. Now, this match deserves a video all unto itself, so I won't get too into it here. But it should be noted that this match allegedly drew almost 1.5 billion viewers worldwide. And with huge numbers like that, it must serve as proof that crossover celebrities like Muhammad Ali must bring in mainstream eyes and therefore grow a wrestling promotion. Right? Well, not exactly, because this is an example of what is known as hotshotting, which yes, can be effective, and in this case was definitely worth doing. However, the problem with hotshotting is that it doesn't necessarily secure any of its newly gotten gain for the long term, because what isn't often talked about when it comes to this match is that after the Inoki-Ali fight took place, Inoki and the match itself received some backlash from both fans and critics alike. Sure, many would eventually come around after a while, and the match's legacy is by far secured within the wrestling community for what it is, but this definitely wasn't instantaneous, at least not for everyone. Furthermore, while there was over 1 billion viewers, much of them didn't really stick around, which is all too often the problem when it comes to hotshotting. And just keep in mind, despite all of these viewers, after the bout, New Japan was still trailing in second place behind All Japan Pro Wrestling. So yes, the match with Ali was a very profitable endeavor for sure, and of course they should have done it. But as for it growing the audience, it didn't exactly show any signs of real staying power. New Japan is at its most successful right now, and their current success really has nothing to do with that Ali match whatsoever. But to further illustrate my point, let's just look at another boxer, Mike Tyson, because there are those who believe that his celebrity played a substantial part in the Attitude Era and the success that occurred during that time. However, I am thoroughly not convinced. Allow me to explain. Mike Tyson appeared on the January 19th, 1998 episode of Monday Night Raw, which drew a 4.0 rating, up 0.6 from the previous week. The episode following this one, on the other hand, only drew a 3.5. So it is clear that there was indeed a spike from Tyson being there. Mike Tyson also appeared on the March 2nd, 1998 episode, which jumped to a 4.8 rating, up 0.3 from the week prior, but actually down 0.1 from the week that followed. But it should also be noted that during Tyson's appearances, WWF still lost to Nitro in the Monday Night War ratings. Raw didn't regain the lead over WCW until April 13th, 1998, on an episode which Tyson wasn't on. Furthermore, Raw would go on to gain ratings as high as 8.1 on May 10th, 1999, which again did not feature Tyson. Not to mention plenty of other episodes that did way better in the ratings than any of the episodes that Mike Tyson was on. Oh, and also, those ratings were for entire episodes. In terms of the 10 highest rated segments of all time for Raw, Tyson isn't featured in any of them. But despite all this, there are still people who say that these high ratings are due to Mike Tyson's guest shots on Raw. They say that this created a buzz and that mainstream audiences who were fans of Tyson came to check out the program and then they stayed, which grew WWF's audience. However, that makes absolutely no sense. If Tyson was bringing in the audience, then how could the ratings possibly do better in subsequent episodes without him? For example, let's just say that if I go to a party and I bring 5 people, then leave, and then another 20 people show up after I'm gone, I can't say that those 20 people were only there at the party because of me now, can I? The vast majority of viewers that came in during the boom period clearly had nothing to do with Tyson, or else they would have watched the episodes that he was actually on. So while I'm not denying that there was a benefit Granted, I am saying that any proof of mainstream eyes building an audience doesn't really seem to exist. But with no significant harm in this style of hotshotting like it was done with Ali and Tyson, why not just continue to do it? Well, while those two examples might have worked out, there is definitely reason to suggest that other celebrities might not be as harmless. Because when we look at WWE's current rating slump, let's remember that this is all going on during a time when WWE is pushing Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey. Yes, Brock did start out as a wrestler, but the general consensus is that because of Brock's time outside of the WWE, his time in UFC in particular, Brock has been getting a lot more mainstream coverage from the likes of outside audiences, ESPN, and the media in general. Same goes for Ronda Rousey for that matter. And while all that is true, so what? Let's flip this for a moment. Take for example CM Punk. Now I'm a huge fan of Punk's and I knew about his UFC fights. However, I wasn't compelled to watch either one of them. And even if I was, I doubt I would have been sucked in enough to become a real UFC fan. Mainstream attention is great and all, but if it doesn't carry a value along with it, then it means absolutely nothing. And when your fan base is dissatisfied and viewers are dwindling along with attendance figures, it just seems clear that this strategy isn't working to bring in new fans. I mean, it's not like Lawrence Taylor really helped the WWF all that much when he main evented WrestleMania. Oh, and that reminds me, let's not forget about the huge price tag that comes along with crossover talent. Now, there may be some of you who are wondering, why doesn't crossover appeal mean more? Well, there are those who will point out that the other problem of hotshotting is that in search of new fans, you might just end up alienating the ones you already have. Like with David Arquette winning the WCW title. While WCW was already circling the drain at this point, the loyal fan base that they did have became completely turned off by having this actor win their championship. Now, did this little stunt get them any mainstream attention? Sure, but it didn't bring anything along with it. And many of the remaining die-hard WCW fans that were still left became so disenfranchised with the product that it became the straw that broke the camel's back that finally got them to leave. In some cases, if you do manage to gain any new fans through an outside celebrity, most of them won't be real wrestling fans, just fans of that celebrity. And so if you keep catering them, the real fans are just going to be alienated in the process. And when that celebrity does eventually leave, many of the fans that they brought with them are going to leave as well. And by then, so much of your old fan base will already be so turned off that, well, they won't be coming back. So in the end, while mainstream attention from crossover celebrities may be a good thing and can turn a little profit, if it becomes a promoter's white whale, it can also end up costing a company the exact thing that they were trying to cultivate in the first place. But what do you think about trying to get mainstream appeal? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to my comic book channel, Dave Knows Comics. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, Dave knows.